thing Andy and I have shared has been music. We've been throwing bits of music at each other and responding to those bits of music. So essentially we're working in parallel, a little bit like the hedge we just heard, that there are poems which are based on a single thing. So a lot of music that Andy sent me, I think it was the first time I heard it. He's got a much more sophisticated musical ear now. So we'll start. You'll do the first one, shall I?
I think maybe because yours is the first thing I said.
Okay, it was the very first thing. The group is called Szirtes, and the theme was topic. And inside that, there's a bell-like sound. And it's the bell-like sound that I hooked onto. Just like somebody waiting to enter. And when they enter, in this case it is God. The door appears before you. Someone rings to enter. The chime takes possession. Now we are all waiting. It is as if time was an meter, and God was checking his watch to see how the stars were doing. He taps his way down the stairs where we have set a table for him. We are waiting. He is our guest after all, but he brings only music, like a deep wound in the chest. You rise from your chair. There is nowhere to go. The light is ambiguous. Is that his step? How slim his shadow, how slight.
In response to George's poem, George sent me a piece by Carla Blachio called Lawns, and it's a kind of jazz-free piece. It was live, and there was something very calming about the music that made me think of lawns in particular, and the fact that I still don't have a lawn, even in my 40s, which I thought I'd have by now. It's called Sonic for Lawns. We lay in sunlit rooms in afternoons, soundtracked by men mowing their lawns. All that's to come, we say, all that's to come, and we are boring and no longer young. All that's to come, and all that has gone. I am older now, my garden is stone. Green tries to find a way between the cracks. And we no longer lay in sunlit rooms on our backs. There's no time for that. No time to be slow, my children say. What's it like to be old? I like the fog, I say. I like the fog on my commute. Let it grow thick. Let me grow mute. As I am sad, I say, so sad I don't have a lawn, which is work. It is work which keeps me young.
And this piece was for Tinder Sticks, and a piece called Peiko's Theme. And the poem that came out in club actually titled Sunset Strip. It's a little bit like the theme of a very, very old TV program, 77 Sunset Strip. It was Sunset Strip at the back of the bar. There was cactus in my beer and a gun in my hand. I didn't know what I was doing. That's my excuse. That, and the coyotes howling in my ear, off screen somewhere like the rest of me, where I have always been. I know this landscape, like I know this bar. I know the way they stride through the swing doors like big shots barreling down the highway. It is lonely standing at the back of the bar, but you'll find me there, most times, with the same gun in my hand and the whistling of a great wind in the offing. Someone is stalking me, but I go on through the alien landscape like a ghost with wings. I know the tune to this. I can whistle it.
One of the interesting things I think about doing this project was that you can almost create like a poetry playlist. So at some point I'll try and put the music together into a playlist. The next thing I wanted to read was probably from the middle section of the collaboration, and I'm going to have to ask George to pronounce this one. I can do the first bit, which is Musicas.
Musicas.
There we go. And there was a refrain for it, which roughly translated, by roughly I mean thanks Google, roughly translates as the wind, our winds are blowing cold.
Hit again for you, Nakasale.
Okay. I no longer have the heart for winter. Out here in the flatlands there is no shelter from the winds. There is no shelter from the winds. I must think with a head of summer, for I do not have the heart for winter. I do not have the heart for winter. My body once loved the cold, but now there is no shelter from the winds. There is no shelter from the winds that exposes to you to yourself over and over, and I do not have a heart for winter. I do not have a heart for winter. Familiar voices fall in further rooms where there is no shelter from the winds. And there is no shelter from the winds. You can't last out here for long when you have no heart for winter. And I have no heart for winter. Some mornings are the very depths of me, where there is no shelter from the winds. Silly boy, pick yourself up. Find joy where there is no shelter from the wind. Summer hangs beyond you on a string, you who has no heart for winter.
The third and last piece I read now is by, the music is William Basinski, and it's a very, very long piece called Disintegration Loop, and it is basically consists of looping and looping and looping, just like watching an apocalypse in slow motion, with things slowly waste away and vanish. Disintegration loop. Little by little, the trace diminishes. Footprints on wet grass, a building falling. Little by little, everything vanishes. You sense it inside you as you tick over, waiting at the lights or at some gate. Things stutter and gasp. They won't recover. The beauty of it strikes and runs you through like a blade out of nowhere. This is how time continues shrinking while remaining new. You've seen it before, relatives and friends, and know the full score even as it plays. You understand the plot before it ends. The tape wears out while clinging to the wreck it must itself become. The sadness of it all. The tape, the tune, the tears, the very deck on which the world plays out. You watch smoke flow through dust and darkness. Even music falls. Beauty thins out in song, then has to go. Thank you.
Again, I took it in the hard help with modules. So the next one is Barbara Hannigan, who's an opera singer, being conducted by Simon Rattles, a video George sent me of Giorgi Ligeti.
Georgi Ligeti.
Oh, almost. Which is the Mystère de Macabre. And this was after I drove down to Great Windermere to see the childhood home or area where M.R. James, the ghost story writer, lived. And then popped over to Westow Anglo-Saxon village, which, when I listened to this piece of music, got me thinking about the state of England. The skull of the Anglo-Saxon man sits behind glass. Some effort has been made on reconstructing his face. It stares down from the wall as a shy teenager, bottom lip slightly bit. He could be anyone's kid here today, who got bored and wandered off to dream of girls or boys before getting his head caved in by some stranger who haunts the edges of these woods and dreams. The bogeyman who comes when the dog whistle is blown, to take our children off to a neverland of ideas it's hard to break them from. I imagine these men smell of piss and saloon bars. The buildings here are reconstructed with straw and shit. The houses smell of ash and animal skin. I'm not sure what to do with all this history. It feels a stretch to say it is my roots, my distant ancestors and their love for pots and swords and burying ships. I prefer the sea, the protozoic slime from which we bubbled and screwed our way out or went into the trees. England is just a haunted dance hall, where the skeletons circle in empty dance cards. When we were young, there was always a danger of violence at any time. Simon in his cardigans too big for him was jumped by 15 kids one Friday night. We watched him go down and did nothing for fear the violence would come to us. I thought those days were gone, but here we are, divided again, meatheads on the rise, men with metaphorical tiny manhoods, unironic in the digital spheres. Faster we dance, faster on, and I am father to the man and man to the father, and I don't know what to do with all this, what we drive and how to steer it, to block my son's ears to the whistling. The skull of the Anglo-Saxon man sits behind glass. Thank you.